I smelled smoke before I saw flames. My house was burning and the HOA president smiled watching it. "Should have joined us," he said. What he didn't know, I wasn't just a stubborn homeowner. I was a feared federal judge and justice was my specialty. The day I lost everything started like any other Tuesday. I was reviewing case files in my home office when I smelled smoke. Not the pleasant kind from a barbecue, but the terrifying smell of a house on fire. Within minutes, my peaceful retirement home was engulfed in flames. My name is Robert Chin, and for 20 years I served as a federal judge known for my strict rulings against corruption. 6 months ago, I retired to a quiet lakeside community called Pine Ridge Estates to write my memoirs and enjoy fishing. What I didn't know was that my refusal to join their homeowners association would cost me everything I owned. As I stood watching firefighters battle the blaze, Gerald Thompson, the HOA president, approached me with fake sympathy. "Such a tragedy, Judge Chin. If only you had installed our approved fire alarm system. This is exactly why we need everyone to join the HOA." I noticed something strange in his eyes, not sadness but satisfaction. That's when I began to suspect this was no accident. The fire department's initial report said the cause was undetermined, but I had my doubts. 20 years as a federal judge taught me to recognize when something wasn't right. I decided to stay quiet and investigate on my own. I moved into a small rental cabin nearby and pretended to be broken by the loss. Meanwhile, I called my former clerk, Sophia, who now worked for the FBI. "I need a favor," I told her. "Off the books." Within days, Sophia delivered a small package containing surveillance equipment. I set up cameras around what remained of my property in the HOA office. Then I waited. 3 nights later, I captured Thompson and 2 other HOA board members meeting behind the community center. Their conversation confirmed my worst fears. Chin was becoming a problem, Thompson said. Other homeowners were questioning why they should pay dues if he didn't have to. We had to make an example. "The electrical short in his garage worked perfectly," laughed Eric Paulson, the HOA treasurer. "Insurance won't cover it because he didn't have our approved system. Let's just hope no one discovers those accelerants we planted," added Meredith Wilson, the secretary. "A federal judge, even a retired one, could cause us serious trouble." I felt ice in my veins. They had deliberately burned down my home, destroying family photos, my late wife's belongings, and the manuscript for my memoirs. All because I refused to pay their excessive fees for services I didn't want or need. The next day, I visited my old friend Judge William Harris. We had worked together for 15 years before his appointment to the state Supreme Court. "They picked the wrong person to mess with," William said after seeing my evidence. "You were known as the Hammer for a reason, Robert. Every corrupt official feared appearing in your courtroom." "I need to handle this carefully," I replied. "This isn't just about my house. They've been terrorizing the entire community." Through discreet inquiries, I learned the HOA had forced out 6 other homeowners in the past 2 years using various underhanded tactics. They created fake violations, levied enormous fines, and even sabotaged properties to force compliance. I spent the next 2 weeks gathering evidence and building my case. I interviewed former residents who had been forced out, collected financial records showing the HOA board members were embezzling funds, and documented numerous violations of state law. Meanwhile, Thompson increased his harassment, thinking I was defeated. He even had the audacity to send me a letter offering to fast-track my HOA application if I agreed to certain special conditions, including signing away my right to sue them for the fire. For weeks after losing my home, I was ready. I invited all Pine Ridge residents to a community meeting, claiming I wanted to apologize for the trouble I had caused. Thompson and his board members looked smug as they took front-row seats. As people filed in, I noticed several familiar faces slip into the back row: Judge Harris, Sophia from the FBI, and the State Attorney General, Patricia Mendez, my former law school student. I walked to the podium slowly, playing the part of a defeated old man. "Thank you all for coming," I began softly. "I wanted to address the community about the recent fire at my home." Thompson nodded encouragingly, thinking I was about to surrender. "But first," I continued, my voice suddenly stronger, "I'd like to introduce some special guests." I gestured to the back of the room where Sophia and 2 FBI agents stood up. "These agents are here to arrest Gerald Thompson, Eric Paulson, and Meredith Wilson on federal charges of arson, mail fraud, racketeering, and embezzlement." The room erupted in gasps as the agents moved forward. Thompson jumped to his feet, his face pale with shock. "You can't do this," he shouted. "You're just a retired judge with a grudge." I smiled for the first time in weeks. Actually, Mr. Thompson, I never fully retired. I still serve on the Federal Ethics Committee and have special jurisdiction over cases involving corruption and abuse of power. As the agents handcuffed the 3 board members, I continued, we have video evidence of you confessing to burning down my house. We have financial records showing you embezzled over $300,000 from this community. And we have documented proof of how you terrorized homeowners who opposed you. The Attorney General stepped forward. Additionally, the state is filing separate charges for multiple violations of housing laws and will be freezing all HOA assets pending investigation. The other residents looked stunned, then angry as they realized how they had been manipulated and stolen from for years. One elderly woman stood up. They threatened to put a lien on my house because my flowers were the wrong color. I had to take out a loan to pay their fines. Others began sharing similar stories, excessive fines for minor violations, threats, and intimidation. The HOA will be placed under court supervision, I explained. A forensic accountant will review all financial records, and any stolen funds will be returned to the community. You will elect new leadership who will serve the community, not exploit it. As Thompson was led away, he hissed at me, you planned this all along, didn't you? I leaned in close. No, Gerald. You did this to yourself when you decided to burn down a federal judge's house. I just made sure you faced the consequences. The next morning, local and national news vans lined our quiet streets. The story of a corrupt HOA taking on a federal judge known as the Hammer was too good to ignore. Interviews with former residents revealed a pattern of abuse going back years. 6 months later, I stood on the foundation of my new home, watching as construction workers laid the framework. The community had transformed. The new HOA board, elected by transparent vote, had reduced fees by 60% while improving services. The embezzled funds had been recovered and used to repair neighborhood infrastructure. Thompson, Paulson, and Wilson were sentenced to 15 years in federal prison for arson, fraud, and racketeering. The investigation expanded to other HOAs they had connections with, uncovering a network of corruption across 3 states. Judge Harris visited me at the construction site. You know what I always admired about you, Robert? You never sought revenge. You sought justice. I nodded, watching the sunset over the lake. There's a difference. Revenge is about making yourself feel better. Justice is about making the community better. Will you stay here? He asked. After everything that happened? I smiled, thinking about the community meeting the previous night where residents had unanimously voted to rename our street Justice Way. Yes, I said. This is home now. And I have a new chapter to add to my memoirs. As I walked through the framing of my new house, I realized something important. The fire had destroyed my possessions, but it had given me purpose again. Sometimes life's worst moments lead to unexpected new beginnings. And sometimes, when corrupt people choose the wrong target, they learn a powerful lesson. True justice may be patient, but it is relentless. The HOA burned down my house thinking they could bully a quiet retiree. Instead, they awakened the hammer. And hammers are made for nails that stick out and cause damage. The sign at the entrance to Pine Ridge Estates now carries a new motto beneath the name, where community comes first and justice prevails. And that's exactly how it should be.